welcome back to part 2 of the Overreaction episode. It's still Monday, September 9th, and Dave and I are going through the other half of the Week 1 NFL football games and their impacts on both the redraft and dynasty season. So let's get right into it. Dolphins and Jaguars. Dolphins won this game 20-17. I think they were down 17-0 at one point. To go back to your previous stat about the Titans being up 17-0, maybe it was 17-3. But Tua had a good game. Tyreek got arrested in the morning, scored touchdowns in the evening or afternoon. Like, he's a freak. He's uncoverable.
Did you watch the
body cam footage?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I saw some highlights, but
it's unfortunately it's America, and it's everything you expect it to be, but it's bad. It is very bad.
I'll take a look. But okay. I guess I think it's my turn, or I'll go through here. I'm going to I guess I'm going to overreact in a sense that I should have been more eager to buy Tyreek Hill this offseason. The Beavers came to me. They said, what would you be willing to give me for Tyreek Hill? And I'm just in the offseason, I just don't care for 30-year-old receivers. I was like, I don't even want him. I don't think I need him. My team is fucking too good already. I don't need Tyreek Hill. Fucking Tyreek Hill is the only player besides Christian McCaffrey that is guaranteed to score you like 17 points every single week. He's guaranteed to get you to 100 yards. He's guaranteed 5 receptions. And it's the only question is whether he's scoring touchdowns or not. I think I'm overreacting again. The other thing I want to overreact to is Devon Achane lining up outside was the second leading receiver on the, or even not receiver in yardage, but receiving targets. Yeah, second leading target getter for the Dolphins. That's super encouraging for the running back position because we don't have a lot of players like that anymore. We had, in the years past, we had Kamara, Eckler, and McCaffrey were those guys for so many years. And it's almost like we've been waiting, I think, for that new era of running back to step up and be the two-way player, I guess, that can take on a load on the ground and in the pass game. And I think it's something that we can overreact to. It said, if you had reservations about, A-Chain's the backup, A-Chain's this, it just kind of, he goes out there, he puts up a goal line touchdown and then 7 receptions. That's pretty damn awesome. The other thing I'm overreacting to is Tank Bigsby looks good. I'm looking at him and I'm going, he came in on a couple, I only saw the highlights. So he came in a couple backed up towards the end zone carries and carried them out, big, massive holes. And he took the lane to the right. I remember up the sideline, got like a 20 or 30 yard gain. And the coach said all last season he wanted to get Bigsby more involved. And then he fucking sucked. And then he said all this offseason he wants to get Bigsby more involved. And he was a man of his word. So I'm overreacting to it in a sense that if I can buy on the cheap for a third, I think I might kick the tires on that in leagues because, he might have been on waivers in some of your leagues. So the fact that you might be able to overpay for him now, since I chose overreacting, I'm overreacting to this. And then the other thing is Trevor Lawrence. What the F? You're the prince that was promised. How are you only completing 12 passes? Like, what is going on? And I have to overreact. I think I'm freaking out a little bit if I have my bags are in Trevor Lawrence's car. I'm afraid that it got stolen. Like, what is going on right now? So over to you, Dave. You're underreacting to all the performances.
It's a hard one to underreact to. I will echo a lot of the same things you said. I was on Trevor Lawrence last year when everyone was hyping him up after like, we had such a great end to the season, blah blah blah. I was like, this guy doesn't look that good at all. And everyone just kept making excuses for him, which I didn't quite understand. And then you're seeing it here now again, like it just doesn't look that good. He just feels like the quarterback. I don't know if it's a good example of it, but he feels like the quarterback that's just going to have, he's a boom bust quarterback. Against bad defenses, he's going to have, and bad teams, he's going to have good days. And against teams that are competitive, he's just not.
Is he white Jameis Winston? Gunslinger.
Honestly, if James was white, he might get all the same, excuses that Trevor Lawrence get, honestly. Um, yeah, you know what's so funny? Actually, it's probably the best comparison. How much hate Baker Mayfield gets versus how much love Trevor Lawrence gets. Because Baker Mayfield has outperformed Trevor Lawrence so drastically the last 10 games they played. It's like
Yeah.
not even you wouldn't if you just looked at a stat sheet, you'd be like, that guy has to be Trevor Lawrence. And it is fucking Baker Mayfield, and Trevor Lawrence is trash. So, anyways, I'm gonna go on to react. I'm not gonna. I guess if I'm underreacting, yeah, I'm not gonna buy in too much to what happened with the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are really good, but I wouldn't go and acquire Devon Achane because he had a great first game. I'm also not gonna like think, oh, Devon Achane's gonna out target, have more targets than Jalen Waddle or anything like that, and the consistency going forward. Um, I'm also gonna underreact to Christian Kirk being trash. I do think that he has a chance to
Oh
be
my god, I didn't even see his
a
Christian Kirk's
receiver, but
line.
I mean, he was terrible.
Evan Ingram.
I'm actually not. It's hard to say I'm in the unreacted state. Like I actually do think BTJ looked great. So I think I'm gonna be appropriately reacting to that. I'm not gonna go spend a million, 2 firsts on him or anything like that. But I do think Brian Thomas is great. And if you did want to try to acquire him for like a first and a second right now, if in Dynasty, I don't know why you wouldn't, because it was also of all the entire team with all the blemishes that Trevor Lawrence was during that game, for him to still perform as he did as a rookie in his first game versus all the other rookies we've kind of talked about that have not performed quite well, impressive. And so I think a big opportunity there for BTJ to be even better. So
Yeah. I like it. All right, let's move on to the Panthers and the Saints. Saints took care of business. They took the Panthers out to lunch and then shit on their chest. 47-10 thrashing. Derek Carr only threw for 200 yards, but 3 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara was wound back the clocks. Bryce Young looked like an actual dumpster. What are you doing here? How are you reacting to this game?
I'm overreacting, and in a lot of ways. Well, Derek Carr, I actually would buy him in a lot of situations. To reflect, I'd buy him as my QB1 if I had Caleb Williams. Like, get rid of that guy. I'd rather have Derek Carr over Kirk Cousins, over Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence?
Like, yeah, 100%. Like, I'd much rather have Derek Carr. It just seems like a better situation because Derek Carr did that. Right, 19 to 23, 200, which is good efficiency. Only 200 yards though, 3 touchdowns. He also only hit Olave for what? 2 catches, 2 for 2.
Yeah.
So like you didn't even use your best offensive player, and you still got that production. I'm pretty excited about that for the future. So I think Derek Carr actually going to be getting better from here, not worse, even though it was against a terrible team because they didn't even touch Olave. Alvin Kamara is going to stay exactly where he is. He's going to be a top 5 running back, and no one drafted him that way. Overreact. I guess if I'm overreacting too, I actually am going to think that Olave is going to bounce back, although I do have some concern. So maybe I should overreact the other way, is that Olave is dead. I have him in a couple of leagues that I have concerns over, but again, hopeful that he just got shut down. Defense was good, spying him, double teaming him, whatever it is, clouding him, and he's going to do well. But his counterpart, Rashid Shaheed, had a good outing, really high efficiency. From the Bryce Young side, actually, the only thing on the Saints too is Foster Moreau going 4 for 4, out targeting Johnson. Interesting there. I don't know if that maintains, but for right now, Foster Moreau to the moon. Panthers, Bryce Young. I the other guy for my bad picks, I thought Bryce Young was going to bounce back tremendously. I thought he was going to be top 50% quarterback into week 1. I thought he was going to have all the right receivers, the right running back room. I thought he was just going to do so many things so much better than he did. Like we talked about his season prior as a historically terrible. I think he had 11 touchdowns the entire season with the Panthers. It's just, I don't know how it's possible in 17 games. He's done. You want to talk about a team that's going to redraft a new quarterback next year? It's going to be the Panthers. Legit. I don't know how to say it. I have him. I love him. Thank God he's there. Like he's their only good player apparently, because everyone else stinks. Also, Deontay Johnson, like you and I thought we were geniuses. Oh, we're gonna have Deontay in the 7. This is great. Fuck yeah, Deontay is so fucking good, dude. Like, what happened? 2 for 6, 19 yards. Like, fuck. Just feels bad, man. So, yeah, that Panthers team there's nothing. I don't understand how you can be so bad for so long and figure out nothing. With new coaches and everything, it just sucks.
All right. Well, I'm going to underreact to this. While I do think you made some good points, like we've already echoed a few times, it is the first week of the NFL season, and which has been treated like a preseason game apparently, and it's the first time Bryce Young's playing with Deontay Johnson and Xavier Legette in his wide receiver core against a really, really good Saints defense. I'm Marshawn Lattimore, I think, is the corner there who's like an all pro corner. Like he probably was the one covering Deontay. I didn't watch the game, thank God. But I'm underreacting, saying I think Bryce Young still got it, whatever it is. And as long as his confidence isn't shaken from how, the game went and how his last season went, I gotta think that he comes out there and throws a pick on the first play of the game. It must have shaken him to his core. And maybe that really sent him into a spiral, which I'm not going to make an excuse for him. Like that can't happen as a franchise quarterback, but maybe that really I just can't wait for this fresh, clean start this year to go out and have a decent start. Interception. Just fucking here we go again. And I'm going to give him a pass. I think there's a lot to like on this team. Jonathan Brooks is supposed to come back midseason. The coaching staff still needs to get up to speed with the plays, and the players need to all meld together. On the Saints side, I'm not worried about Chris Olave. I'm not worried about any of these superstar receivers unless they're not playing. And if you're getting outsnapped by certain guys because you can't get on the field, then I'm worried. But Olave played. He might have been double covered. I don't know. I didn't watch. Maybe just Derek Carr didn't need him. Like you said, he had one big play to Rashid Shaheed. Didn't need him. Just sometimes the game script goes away from you. I'm sure we can look back and find 2 reception games for Devontae Adams and 2 reception games for Julio Jones in his career. I'm just the big thing here is it's because it's week 1. It's the only point of data we have right now. So it's hard not to react to it. So I encourage you not to overreact. All right, let's move on to, oh my God, I don't even want to talk about this game. The Vikings 28, the Giants 6. Not much here. Justin Jefferson is QB proof. Sam Darnold is okay. And Daniel Jones might be the worst quarterback.
Back. Dude, Aaron Jones is back.
All right. You tell me, overreact or underreact to one of the teams. Don't even go through both of them.
I'll underreact. One. I'm going to underreact to the Vikings. I don't think they're as good as they showed. I think the Giants are just that bad. I don't think Aaron Jones is going to be putting up 19 fantasy points a week. That just seems a little ridiculous. Going 14 for almost 100 with a touchdown. Yep. So I also am going to underreact to Ty Chandler not being as involved. I think it's just like, again, they just were kind of rolling. Like it was a very weird.
8 carries. He was involved.
Yeah, he was involved, not as efficient as Aaron Jones. But I just think, I'm underreacting to everything. Also was surprised that Tyrone Tracy, I know he was kind of injured before, but I thought he bounced back. Didn't get as much touches as I thought he would compared to even like Eric Gray. But yeah, I'm going to react to the whole thing. I don't think the Giants are as terrible on offense as they showed. I also don't think the Vikings are as good as they showed on offense. And that's kind of where I'll leave it.
All right. I'm going to, so you underreacted to the Vikings. I'm going to overreact to the Giants. And, sound the alarm. Daniel Jones is the worst quarterback since I don't know, the guy in I can't remember the movie, so now I sound like an idiot, but one of those movies where they have an actor pretending to throw a football and he looks like a doofus. He's lost. He might be like, how the horses, they put the blindfold over them so they don't, they can't see where they're going. And that's what Daniel Jones, when he drops back, that's what he looks like. He has blinders on. I'm worried for Malik Neighbors. I'm worried for every piece on that offense. Because obviously, Neighbors is about to go through QB purgatory hell in the same way that DJ Moore did it before him, the way that Drake London did it before him, the way that Garrett Wilson did it before him. And I'm worried. And if I'm also overreacting in a good way, Theo Johnson played all of the tight end snaps. He didn't get all the volume because Daniel Jones fucking sucks. But he played 88% of the snaps or something. I saw some stat on Twitter this morning that was like Kyle Pitts played 100%, Kate Otten played 100%, and Theo Johnson played like 88. It was like unbelievable. That was okay. He's out there. He is the tight end 1. If I can buy him for a third now, I'm ponying up. I'm going to get him, and if I can stash him in taxi, that's what I'm doing. I think what else could you want out of a rookie tight end? But okay, let's move on. I like this format better. Pick a team and overreact and underreact, and then
Love
I'll
it.
pick. All right, we got the Raiders versus the Chargers. Chargers won 22-10. It was the Harbaugh return to the NFL. Justin Herbert's return from injury last year. Totally new look offense. Got rid of Keenan Allen. Got rid of Mike Williams. Got rid of Austin Eckler. It's a new fucking team. And obviously Gardner Minshew, the mustache mania in Las Vegas. What did you think? What was your
you go first? Overreact, underreact?
I'm going to underreact to the Chargers. I think J.K. Dobbins is a great story. I think he had 2 really long runs, right? And then the rest he was kind of average. I'm not saying he's bad. I just think I'm not going to react in a way that says he's worth a first now. I think if I could get out for Dobbins for a second, I would. Unless I need if I only have 2 starting running backs, I'll keep him for the depth. But if he's like my RB4 or 5 or on my team and somebody comes to me with a second form, he's gone. I don't want a multi lower leg injury running back on my team. Then we go to the receivers. Lad McConkey, I think he's good. I don't think he's going to be breaking tackles and making people. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It's hard for me to. Lad just looks like such a solid player. It's really hard to react to him. I'm kind of like we said Brian Thomas. I'm gonna appropriately react to him and leave him where I had him before the games. QJ being second on the team in targets, pretty good. Yep. I'm gonna underreact to that though. I'm not gonna go out and say he's back. And Justin Herbert, I'm gonna underreact to him only throwing for 140 yards because nobody fucking could pass yesterday. I don't know what it was, but I still think Herbert has 20 points per game upside. I'm not selling. I'm not panicking. I'm looking around at the rest of the league and realizing, damn, nobody could throw yesterday besides Baker Mayfield. I'm gonna let it slide.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna overreact to the Raiders. I think this is the Raiders. Yep. I don't think it gets better. I don't think it's worse. I think this is the Raiders. A lot of 10-point guys. I think one of the running backs, Samir or Alex Madison, is 10 points. I think Gardner Minshew is going to do 10, 15 points. I think Devontae Adams is going to do 10 points. Joey Myers is going to do 9 points, 10 points. I think Brock Bowers is going to get 10 points. Surprisingly, he was actually 10 points, way more involved than I thought. You got 10 point titty guys. That's just all you're gonna get.
10-point titties.
This is the Raiders. So like, do you want to start them? No. Are they all potential flexes if you have to? Yeah. If you have to have a second QB, yeah. Gardner Minshew does play in the NFL, so he could be your second QB. But yeah, I don't see a lot of wins coming. I don't see a lot of like great things coming out of this organization that you got to get excited for. I truly think they're going to trade Devontae. There's no reason to keep him. You have Bowers. You can go get a QB, just be bad, like let Bowers grow. Jacoby Myers is actually, I think, better than people think. So I think just like let him kind of grow too and give them some experience and then go from there. Why you need Devontae Adams in this team makes no sense because they're not going anywhere. And Zamir White was the biggest disappointment. I mean, I judged him as a running back 1 on a team. Now I feel like an absolute idiot.
I think the 10-point team is a funny observation. But all right, let's move on to the next game. Seahawks versus the Broncos. Seahawks won 26-20. Gino had a pretty good game fantasy-wise. He had that long scramble for a touchdown. Bo Nix looked awful. I saw some stat that was like there was 3 quarterbacks that attempted at least 40 attempts and had at least a CPOE, completion pass over expected, of some stat that was like, I'll have to find it. EPA per pass attempt was like the worst in NFL history, and it's like Bo Nix and I don't know, some other dumbass, but it was not a good game for Bo Nix, according to all. I didn't really watch the game, but from what I heard, it was not a good game for Bo Nix. But all right, you're up first this time. I want you to, between the Broncos and the Seahawks, overreact or underreact to any situations here.
I'm going to underreact to the Broncos. Here's kind of the craziest thing around the Broncos to me: 42 pass attempts. None of them is Troy Franklin.
What the hell? Did he play? Was he active?
Yeah, active but didn't play. And then Marvin Mims had 1 target. So it's Cortland Sutton, Josh Reynolds, and Bailey. Devon Bailey got all the targets, and Devon Bailey actually was a leader in fantasy points. I don't know what to make of it. All I know is I don't want to call a spade until I know it's a spade. And right now in the Broncos, I don't know what is a spade and what isn't. Julian McLaughlin led the running back room. He actually looked good on a few plays, but he looked awful on other plays. I think it's just like the way they schemed up so many things, which is bad. Like here's that. So I watched again a lot of red zone plays, and I was in and out of the game. And every time I saw Jalil get the ball, he was tackled at the line of scrimmage. He went 5 for 5 for 1 yard. It's just how that's possible. It doesn't really make sense to me. And so I think that's kind of how the Broncos game was. So I think for me, I think Seattle's defense is pretty solid. I don't know exactly where they kind of rank in PFF or whatever, but I think Seattle's defense is pretty solid.
Very good defense.
What?
They have very good defense, yeah.
Okay, so great. So I think tough matchup, rookie QB
on the road in Seattle, 12th man. Road.
Yeah, super tough stadium to play in. Good call out there too. That for me, I'm not gonna do anything crazy with this team. I think for me, the Broncos are the particular team where you talk about last year, some of the things. CJ Stroud started off terrible. I think he went for like 20 for 42 and like 180 yards or whatever. That's basically Bo Nix's stat line. So let's just see how it goes, find some chemistry, play against a slightly worse defense, get to home and see what happens and go from there.
Yeah, I saw so I found the stat, which was the lowest total EPA for quarterbacks in week 1, going in ascending order. Joe Burrow had a negative 13.8 expected points added. Bryce Young had a negative 15.8. Deshaun Watson, negative 19.9. Will Levis, negative 22 points. Daniel Jones, negative 22.5 points. Bo Nix, negative 23 points. Right. So it was a tough outing. But
that was all from this past week.
This was this week's EPA, expected points added. That's so
okay.
bad.
And again, I'd rather be like Deshaun Watson's been around long enough that he shouldn't have
right.
Daniel Jones. Exactly. I'm okay if Bo Nix is on that list right now, first game in the NFL. But yeah, if he's there in 3 years, we got some problems.
Yeah. All right. Now I have the Seahawks. So from overreacting, the low hanging fruit here is JSN breakout is still in production right now. He went 2 for 2 for 19 yards on the first drive of the game. And I remember seeing the box score when the game started or whatever, the notifications. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, this is the breakout. He's here. He's arrived. And then he didn't get a target the only target he got the rest of the game was called back due to penalty or something like that. So if I'm overreacting, it's kind of like what I said in the sell high episodes, which was I'm still in on JSN long term, but as a dynasty holder, I think it's going to get better before it gets worse. And this is a perfect example of Geno was not very good. That offensive line still sucks. And Tyler Lockett is still fucking amazing. Like he's not going to he's not a burner down the sideline. He's not going to break a 75-yard touchdown anymore like he used to, but he gets open in the middle of the field. Why would they change that when they have a team like built around Geno, who's 34 years old? They're built to win now. They can't relegate a guy as good as Lockett to being a backup. So until his wheels fall off, they're not going to take him off the field. And I think that's, if I'm overreacting to JSN's line and I'm overreacting also to Ken Walker, he looked like amazing on his highlights. I didn't watch every carry, but I saw the touchdown runs. I saw some of his longer highlights.
He looked great.
He looked like a dog. And I think that for some reason, just getting the healthy linemen back even though their line looked pretty bad, their rush attack looked better. And Zach Charbonnet getting mixed in on that 30-yard touchdown reception, like it leads me to have something that I'm overreacting to the fact that this Seahawks offense is something I want to have pieces of besides JSN. All right, let's move on to the next game.
I will. So if I actually had just one comment there, if I have the overreact, Geno Smith initially looked terrible. And so and again, DK Metcalf can't be the second fiddle. I also don't know where JSN can fit all that either. I just don't. I wonder where that squeaky wheel comes in, where it's just like at what point do those guys start to give up? Like JSN was touted as like the top wide receiver of a year coming out. I don't know if he can just sit around and just be like this guy getting 2 targets a game and still going to want to put in maximum effort. Almost same thing to DK. I just wonder how that plays out in the coming years. But yeah, there's tons of potential in Seattle if they can figure it out.
Yeah, it almost seems like they need to like decide who they want to keep around. Like, why you're wasting DK or JSN's talent potential by having either of them sit behind Lockett. No offense to Lockett, it just seems like a weird. Why spend the first on a wide receiver just to not use them? Unless he's just not good, like QJ. But like, I don't know. It just seems weird that he's not even on the field for a lot of the plays. Like, it's just a very. All right, let's move on to the Cowboys and Browns. We've got Cowboys thrashed the Browns. It wasn't even close to a game. Dak only threw for 180 yards. Cooks.
By the way, just want to bring up something here real quick. Dak 19 for 179. Gino 18 for 171. Who else was there?
Herbert 140.
19 for 208. Carr 19 for 200. Trevor 12 for 162. And let's go back to the one guy I mentioned, 9 for 212. Anthony Richardson. Just wanted to call that out.
I mean, I have a list here of the passing yards by quarterback. It's Tua threw for over 300. Baker was 280. And then basically the rest of the list is like between 212 and 140 passing yards. You have Darnold, Carr, Daniels, Jones, Prescott, Gino, Deshaun, Burrow, Kyler, T-Law, Bryce Young, Justin Fields, Kirk Cousins, Justin Herbert. That's embarrassingly bad. But all right, moving on to the Cowboys and the Browns.
Pick who you want. Yeah, you go.
I'm going to underreact to basically everything about this game. I'm sorry. The Cowboys went up 20-3 at halftime. The game was over. The Dak stopped throwing. CD had like 6 receptions or whatever, 4 receptions in the first 8 minutes of the game. And then it was like, oh, they're already up 2 touchdowns. Like, it didn't matter. Like, the handoff to Zeke, handoff to whatever. The defense was they scored a kick return touchdown. The Browns couldn't get it going, almost to the point where they just were like, we don't even care anymore. It just seemed like an all-around a blah game. It was over before it started. I'm underreacting to everything, but most specifically, I'm underreacting to the Cowboys. It just doesn't seem like there's nothing I can pull from this game that says this is how the offense is going to function. I imagine in a game where Dak has to throw 40 times and throw for 300 yards, that I'm going to assume CD's going to be more involved. I'm going to assume the usage of Zeke, Dowdle, and Dalvin Cook's going to look different in a game that's competitive. I'm going to imagine Jake Ferguson gets more involved in a game that's competitive. I'm going to imagine Brandon Cooks seemed like he had almost like one of his better games of this year. I think he's been a great player. I don't think he's got the juice anymore to be a wide receiver too, even. So I think this is probably one of his best games. I'm just not pulling much from the Cowboys. I'm underreacting from every single part of that offense. There's nothing I can pull from this game and say this is how I think the rest of the season's going to go.
No, I'm overreacting to everything. I think it's exactly how the season's going to go. So more so from the Browns, but I do want to comment on the Cowboys too. From the Browns, Deshaun Watson sucks. I don't think he's going to score more than 15 points all season.
Damn.
Jerome Ford, I think, is great. I don't know if he's going to get the job back to Chubb or how it's going to work, but I think for right now, next week, I own him in a league, and that doesn't start a ton of players. I'm starting him over Tank Dell in a flex. He just looked so good. And getting 7 targets, 6 caught for 25, like sign me up for that all day, every day. And so I'm going to bet on that next week. Jerry Jeudy, I mean, surprised is somewhat the understatement that he got 8 targets. Cooper got 9, but to only convert 3 for 8 and then 2 for 9 for Cooper. Like, that just speaks to how fucking bad Deshaun Watson
That's true.
is. David Njoku's out. I don't know for how long, but it says week to week. So, and actually, he was utilized pretty well too. Would love to trust that he could actually be a starting tight end again for fantasy, but I don't know what's going to happen when he's out. So that's also why I'm going to start Jerome Ford, especially if he's out. Then on the Cowboys side, I think the Cowboys finally decided, hey, we don't have a great running back. Rico Dowdle's mid. Zeke is old. and we are going to have to throw the ball a lot. And so they still had 32 attempts for Dak on a game that they kind of blew out because their defense is also phenomenal. And I think Dak realized, all right, who really are my targets? Well, again, I don't have Tony Pollard here anymore to be a pass catching back. So they did throw 4 or 5 targets to their running back room, all spread out. So who is it? It's CD, it's Cooks, and it's Ferguson. I think that's just what it's going to be. Like, there's not really anyone else to mix in. I think you're right. It's going to be more in a more competitive game with probably more success in the passing game as well. But I think that's exactly how it's going to be. It's kind of that same volume share. Lamb was targeted 10, Cook 7, Ferguson 5. Could be 7 or 5 for Cooks or Ferguson flipped, but all that feels kind of appropriate, and that's kind of what I expect coming in the season. Just potentially a little bit more if it actually becomes a more competitive game. So to me, it was everything I expected. And again, Brandon Aubrey is still phenomenal, man. I might give a second for Brandon Aubrey.
Go do it. Put your money where your mouth is.
Matt, call me.
John, put your mouth where our balls are. All right, let's move on to the next game. We got the Buccaneers versus the Commanders.
These are the games I want to talk about.
And we got the Buccaneers blow the Commanders out of the water.
Oh, shut up. It was like
37-20.
That's like 2 possessions.
But the quarterbacks combined for 57 fantasy points. Mike Evans is still a G. But what's your, pick a team, overreact or underreact?
I can't pick. I can go either way. You pick first.
I
own literally the entire Commanders team, so
I know. That's why I wanted to give you a chance to talk about the Commanders, but I'll give you. I'm going to underreact to the Bucs. I don't think Baker Mayfield is going to put up 30 points a game. I don't even think he's going to put up 20 points a game. I don't think he's even going to put up 18 points a game. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's Jared Goff with a better personality. I think he's Brock Purdy with facial hair. I think he's just a good quarterback, and I think he's propped up by the fact that he's got Mike Evans, who's a legitimately first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer. And I'm sorry, the Commanders' defense is fucking awful. Keep that in mind for your matchup plays the rest of the season. The Commanders' defense is awful. And the Bucs offensive line is also awful. They did get Tristan Wirfs back, which is great, but they're not going to have this level of success the rest of the season. This offensive line is going to get pushed around. Baker Mayfield is not going to be able to just throw up Hail Mary balls to Mike Evans in one-on-one coverage and have him pull it down. He's not going to be able to throw dump offs to Rachaad White and Chris Godwin behind the line of scrimmage and have them gain 15 yards every play. Like, I'm sorry, it was just a perfect storm of shit occurred for Baker Mayfield. And I'm underreacting to Bucky Irving. I saw you guys all saying Bucky Irving's going to take Rachaad White's job. It's just not going to happen. Bucky Irving is a good running back. He's a good running back. He's nowhere near the caliber of receiver that Rachaad White is. His job will always be safe. Of course, he could start carving into that rushing carry. I forgot the word I was looking for.
Rushing share.
But yeah, rushing share. But he's never going to take the job. Rachaad White is too stable of a pass catcher and too stable of a pass blocker to ever come off the field in those situations. So that's bottom line is I'm underreacting to the Bucs. I don't think they're going to be that good of an offense this year.
Okay, let me just total offense. Seattle Bucs. What's different in either direction?
What's different? Do you mean like how does each player compare to each other?
Just you got the Seahawks offense. To me, I want you to react. Seahawks offense: Geno, Walker, and Charbonnet, and then you have the 3 pass catchers, and we all know who they are. You have the Bucs. You have Baker. You have
like which offense do I like better?
You have which one are you betting? I mean, which one are you betting?
I think they're going to finish pretty close. I bet you they're both middle of the pack offenses by the end of the year, but 15th, 16th best offenses in the NFL in that range. Like I don't think either of them are going to be spectacular. I don't think Geno's cooked, but I don't think Geno's a superstar, and I don't think Baker Mayfield is either.
Sure, I don't think they are either. I think when we look at back at the end of the season, and I know it's one game, it's one defense, whatever, but also knowing how the Bucks played last year, and now they have a new offensive coordinator that's actually getting Godwin the ball in the right way. I'm putting the Bucks. I think what's going to happen. Where I think you're right coming in the season when I'm drafting, I'm looking at draft boards, players, everything. I was kind of like they're both 15-16. I have the Bucks at 10, and I have the Seahawks at 20.
Okay.
Where they're like neither one's elite, neither one they're not they're they're kind of in the same tier, but one's leading the tier, one's at the back end of the tier. And if I pick player by player, would I rather have Evans or Lockett? I'd rather have Evans. I'd rather have
Yeah.
Godwin or DK. I'd rather have Godwin right now for that first week and showing how they're going to use him in the slot. Would I rather have Rashad White or Ken Walker? That's actually pretty close. Would I rather have Bucky or Charbonnet? That's actually pretty close. Baker and Geno, I think I'd rather have Baker based off performance in the last 10 games.
Actually, you're right. It's actually pretty good
I'm leaning
position by
whatever
position.
Kate Otten or is it no
or
no,
JSN. I just go to the third option.
Who's the tight end there? I don't even know.
I don't even know. Oh, is it Noah Fant?
I think it's Noah Fant. Yeah, that's it's kind of close too. So I think there are some close things when you start to like splice them out. And with McMillan or JSN, McMillan was better, but I don't know. Like I could see it was only because of touchdown, really. So, anyways, you underreacted.
Yeah, I'm not getting my head over my skis on the Bucks.
Okay. Fuck, if I had to overreact. Yeah, let's overreact. Jaden Daniels is QB2, right behind Anthony Richardson. But in all seriousness, he looked great. He looked so good. He barely missed McLaurin for like a 60-yard bomb. Other than that, he just looked so good. Almost rushed for 100 yards, which I think was like would be the first time a Commanders had a rushing person rush or anyone rush for over 100 yards in like 20 games or something like that, like something crazy, like 23, 24 games, 29 games, something like that, something in the 20s. Though that was nuts. Brian Robinson in one league, I didn't start him. I don't know why. I started like Chase Brown and like some other jamoke, and I'm like, I can't believe I didn't start B-Rob. Because in one league I did start him, so like I was smart enough in that league, and the other league I didn't. Must have just been an oversight. So, yeah, I think B-Rob's great. Eckler's still getting 12 points. Fine. Like, and Eckler on receiving looked great too. Really excited about both of them. Luke McCaffrey leading them in receptions. Like, fuck yeah, let's go, baby. Rookie in his first game. I think Luke is going to become very, very, very budget Puka, where it's just like he's going to lead some categories on things that you're like, wow, he's one of the better rookies that like you're not going to count on. And maybe it's
just a grinder
versus yards. Yeah. Maybe it's more receptions versus yards. But like you just saw, what is it? Cooper Kupp fucking had like, I don't know, did he have 20 targets? He had some insane amount of targets.
Yeah, 21 targets.
There you go. And we're going to talk about the next game. But yeah, just like a crazy, crazy, crazy game. McLaurin, I was a little disappointed in for sure. I'm not ready to write him off. Ben Sinnott, same thing. Kind of surprised. Kind of feels as weird. Dalton Kincaid, Trey McBride. Like, are they going to play him or they're not?
Zach Ertz over McBride all over again.
Yeah, I was hoping Sinnott was going to be the like Laporta breakout kind of thing, even though there's a guy in front of him, or like the Trey McBride second year breakout where the guy in front of him got hurt. I'm a little nervous that Sinnett's going to be more the Trey McBride wait till middle of year 2 when Ertz is gone or whatever and gets injured.
Which is
fine. It's fine. I misplanned. I misread the room. Put it that way.
Yeah, you should have thrown on a taxi.
Yeah, I should. I trust me. As I looked at my taxi setting up week 1, I was like, wow, I fucked that up so bad. My taxi. Guys, if we do a show on taxi, I can tell you how and it's funny because you talked about how you did your taxi. And I was like, yeah, it's a pretty good idea to try to do that. And I like just didn't do it. I don't know why. It was like, I agree with you. And I just didn't do it. My taxi's garbage. I fucked it up. So as I went to go do my ads week 1, fucking so bad. So anyway, so enough on that.
All right, let's get to the last game.
Last game.
But yeah,
Niners game's out, none too.
Oh yeah, true. But the other thing I wanted to, even though it wasn't I wanted to underreact to Terry McLaurin going 2 for 17, just like every other top receiver. You know, we had London 2 for 15. We had Olave 2 for 20. We had even Garrett Wilson had a tough night. He started off so hot, finished 6 for 60. Like that's great, but you spent a first round pick on that. You don't want that out of your first round pick. Same with like CeeDee Lamb going 5 for 70. Like those are not what you expected. But okay, we're moving on to the Lions Rams game. This game was a fun game to watch. You had The overtime thriller. David Montgomery punches the Rams square in the Ram forehead to end the game with the game clinching touchdown. But again, low production out of the quarterback. Well, I guess out of Jared Goff, 18 of 28 for 220 yards. Pick a side here. This one's on you. You want to overreact or underreact to which of these teams? Talk a little bit. Jameson Williams breakout party. You had
I'm going to underreact to the Lions. I don't think Jared Goff's as bad as he showed. I mean, I think he's going to be more in the 15 to 22 range, not the 12 to 18 range. I think the Rams defense was better than they're anticipating. I think also this team, like McVay, also wants to just fucking destroy Jared Goff, I think. And so, like, he just wants Jared Goff to look bad since he traded him away. So I think they also put a little more emphasis on how they were going to stop him. And I also think McVay has a really good feel for how to shut down Jared Goff, even though they won the game. I think Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, not to too underreact, but I think that they were both great. I think that this is kind of what you can expect of them, and maybe a little bit less, but still great. I don't think Jameson Williams is going to lead the team in targets and yards and everything else that he did. I thought it was very exciting. I was impressed by him. I wish I put a little more stock in the potential of him coming back the way he did in this first game. I don't think he's going to be at 24 fantasy points a game. I think he's going to be closer to the 8 to 14, but nonetheless was impressed. I also don't think Monroe's going to be, 4 points. So, and Laporta at 8, I think that actually could be kind of his floor. Like, I think 8 points floor for Laporta is, throw a touchdown.
Yeah, that's 14, great game.
Fine. So yeah, I thought overall, like, not bad from the Lions. I think you just don't read too much into it. It was a weird game, and just excited to see what the next few weeks hold.
Awesome. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way where, I know I'm supposed to talk about the Rams, but I'm definitely underreacting to JMO being the leading target. There's no way Amon-Ra St. Brown is getting backseated.
Yeah.
I think there's just in order for JMO to be impactful, he has to overtake both Gibbs and Laporta as the number 2 option in order to be, because I don't think Goff is supporting 3 receivers. So there you go. Overreacting to the Rams. Puka diagnosed with some sort of knee injury. He just got put on IR today. That is huge news. One, Cooper Kupp, wheels up. He's the thing is, I don't think he's going to make it through the full season. Not in I'm not predicting injury, but I can't imagine him sustaining any pace close to this at 32 years old, coming off 31 years old, coming off 2 straight injury-riddled seasons. I just can't fucking see it possibly happening where he can maintain even remotely close to a double-digit target pace for an entire season. But I do think the next
double digits, 100%. Oh man, I would take that bet all day.
So you think he's going to finish 190 plus targets?
I think he's going to finish. Okay, so fine. His floor is not 10, but yeah, to have him see, especially if Puka's going to be out a few games, like to have him see 140, I think that's very possible.
Yeah, 140. I
would bet he makes 140 targets.
It's like 7 targets a game.
Between 140 and 160, I'd say he's between there.
Yeah, so I just think, you look at 21 and you go, oh, even if he gets half that every game, that's great. Like, I don't think it's sustainable.
You know what? I'm gonna nut up. Let's throw a bet on it. I'm gonna say he has 170 targets.
Let's go. You wager a chug. If he doesn't, I'll chug. If he does, I'll chug. If he doesn't, you chug on stream.
Shotgun
on IPA.
On stream.
An IPA. The other one I'm overreacting to is Blake Corum. Didn't see the field. And I was convinced he was as good of a running. I even said it in the pre-show. I thought he was great, or in our best handcuffs, and he didn't even fucking play.
Ronnie Rivers.
Yeah, Ronnie, the big Twin Rivers. So that's my overreaction is that Cooper Kupp could be a monster, and Blake Corum, sound the alarms. All right, let's get to the last game. I only watched half of it because we started the show during halftime. But Jets versus 49ers, it looks like the Niners fucking dismantled the Jets. Rodgers 13 for 21 for 160 yards. What do you know? It fits right in that same range as all the rest of the quarterbacks. But it's his first day back in 2 fucking years. Brock Purdy, as far as QB passive volume goes. 230 yards is a lot compared to everybody else, but no touchdowns, 10 fantasy points. Brees Hall had a pretty good game, 20 fantasy points. Jordan Mason taking over for the injured Christian McCaffrey. I am going to underreact to the 49ers because I think McCaffrey being out, a last minute scratch, certainly throws a wrench in the game plan. I'm going to assume that every game plan is going to be heavy CMC oriented. And I'm sure that fucked with not only their running attack, but they must have also said, well, now we got to get Debo more involved in the ground. So that's going to fuck up our passing attack since now Debo has to come out with more plays after he runs. And he had 8 carries. Brock just, I didn't watch the game, so I can't really speak to it, but I'm going to assume they just struggled to get in sync with their off. They were able to not need to win through the air. So I'm going to underreact. Brock's better than a 10 point per game guy. I don't think he's a 24 point per game guy, but I think he's a good quarterback. And I think you're going to get a lot more out of him. And I'm also going to underreact to Jordan Mason. Like, I'm not banking on him scoring me 25 points a game or even 16 points a game with CMC out. Even if he plays another 2 to 3 weeks without CMC, I'm banking on 10 to 12 points a week unless he gets touchdowns. Like, it's just, I don't think he's gonna get you 60 to 70 yards on the ground, maybe a couple of receptions sprinkled in. Like, I'm not banking on much. I don't think he's an undrafted for a reason. Of course, he looked good on the big plays, but that offensive line is fucking awesome. I know the Jets D is great, but I'm underreacting to all the output of the Niners.
All right, overreaction. I'm dropping Mike Williams for Allen Lazard.
Was Mike Williams active?
I think so. Yeah, he uses a decoy. He says on a pitch count, but like, I don't buy it, dude. Only 2 wide receivers were targeted in the game for the Jets. It was Allen Lazard and Garrett Wilson. And then Tyler Conklin had 2 targets as well, with then Braylon Allen and Brees. Like, but 2 actual wide receivers only got targeted. It was 11 for Garrett Wilson and it was 9 for Allen Lazard.
Allen Lazard is back, baby.
6 for 9, 89 yards, 2 TDs.
That's fucking wild.
That is so wild. Which one was from Tyler Taylor at the end of the game? Garbage time, fine. But like,
Brees Hall had a decent game.
Oh yeah. So overreaction. Brees Hall still elite. Not worried about him in the slightest. His fumble was a weird one because of like how I don't know if you saw at the beginning or kind of in the middle. Aaron Rodgers flipped it to him. It was kind of a weird off script play. He caught it. This kind of immediately hit a guy, caught him from behind, popped the ball. Fine, whatever. I do think Aaron Rodgers sucks. I literally was debating today, do I cut him? But then I was like, no, we have 2 Lavits in our group. One of them will buy him for a third. So I'm going to try to sell Aaron Rodgers. I know I don't listen to this show, so fuck you guys. And then I think I'm going to try to pick up Brown Lazard. Like, that is just a crazy. He didn't really have much until the end. So maybe Garrett Wilson was out. I have to almost go back and look at how the play-by-play went. Because if he only went like 1 for 2 with a TD, he was a pretty decent TD from Aaron Rodgers. So it was 1 for 2 with like a 40-yard touchdown from Rodgers, and the rest was just garbage time with Tyler Taylor. I don't want that. But also, Malachi Corley, nothing. Mike Williams, nothing. Xavier Gibson, nothing. Like, what is going on there? So I don't know. I think that you heard the rumblings before that the Jets were just dysfunctional. I'm buying it. They're dysfunctional. They suck. Who's worse, the Jets or the Giants? I don't know. Yeah. Probably the Giants. The Jets at least have a decent defense, but still, like, they didn't do anything that exciting. And also, there's a weird thing too, where apparently South Garden just sat out after like the first quarter.
He got hurt. He got banged up on a play.
Yeah, but they said he had no injury designation. He was just sitting out.
Oh, good.
So
I will say, if Kyler had noticed Marv in the end zone, and if Travis Etienne didn't fumble on the 1 yard line, the Patriots would be in first place in the AFC East right now. Just putting that out there.
Fumbled.
Let's go. All right, we got 2 hours in the books. The next time we do one of these, we'll have to figure out a way to make it faster. I thought this would be a quick way to do it. It was not, but it was a lot of fun. Dave, thanks for giving me all your insights and your shitty takes. We'll have to talk later this week.
Always. All right.
Peace out.
Peace.